Hey everybody, welcome to our pop-up team call. Today is Thursday, June 14th. Can't believe June is almost halfway over. And I am going to be talking to you guys today about time management and how to be productive. So my name is Tawnya Landis, and I've been a coach for 6.5 years. And through coaching, I've actually greatly improved my time management. So I'm going to share with you some helpful tips, some helpful strategies, because I know a lot of us we're busy. A lot of us are parents. Many of us have, other jobs, other demands on our time, demanding children, demanding spouses, whatever it may be. Just there's always a lot going on. And a lot of times when we're in that, cycle, it can cause us to be paralyzed in terms of what we're doing, or maybe we're not doing the correct activities that are actually going to make a difference. So I'm going to talk to you guys today about some tips and strategies that will help you. So time management is one of my favorite topics to talk about because it was one of my greatest struggles, and I really had to work on it, especially being a mom. I have 3 kids, and I needed to figure out time management just to survive my daily life, because it was no longer just about me. And my lack of skills in the time management area was actually causing a lot of issues for my family. It was stressing out me, it was stressing out my children, and it was stressing out my husband. And it was just not a great place to be. So it was something I had to work on. And when Beachbody came into my life, and they're like, personal development, like we're all supposed to be doing personal development, right? One of the first books I actually read was The Compound Effect. And then I read The Slight Edge. And those books really helped me with my time management. And I could, I dove into all the stuff that, had me work on time management and being productive, because it was where I lacked. And so if that's you, I would highly suggest The Compound Effect or The Slight Edge, and then also getting out your pen and paper and taking notes, because I definitely have some good nuggets for you. So poor time management and not being productive comes from too much randomness. So it's basically being random. A lot of times we have so much on our plate, and then we're not scheduling things. Or if you're like me, I'm someone that loves to be spontaneous. Like, I am that person that loves spontaneity. When I have too much on my schedule, it actually kind of makes me feel like I can't breathe. But I'm not a 17-year-old anymore, or 21-year-old. I, have a family, have a business. It's time, it was time for me to get serious and realize that, I needed to, by having that attitude and being so random all the time, it actually was throwing me into a state of constant overwhelm. I constantly felt overwhelmed. I had too much to do. And like I said before, it was affecting my family. So it was too much randomness that was causing a lot of times will cause us issues when it comes to our time management. A lot of times we're just not disciplined in our schedule. So what I do, and what has helped me, is I say, get a calendar. You can use a planner. This is called the Simplified Planner. Jenny Hobbs actually talked to me about this one, because I can't tell you how many planners I've tried, you guys. This one works really well, but also, you can get planners at Target. I like to write things down. It helps me. I also keep a schedule, our family schedule, in my Google Calendar. My husband and I share a Google Calendar. We have all of the pickups for the kids. Like I said, we have 3 children. They're all in sports and activities. I live by this calendar. Like, if something happened, I can just go to this calendar and it's there. Whenever somebody else has the kids, like my mom or, something like that, I can write it in there. My husband and I know what's going on in our family. And that has been awesome for us. One thing that I do with my time is I do time block. Now, what time block is it's scheduling different activities. So one of the biggest income producing activities that you have as a coach is invites and follow-ups. And so that should be one of your very first activities that you do. It shouldn't be scrolling the feed. It shouldn't be crafting like the most beautiful video or post. It should actually be inviting and following up with people. So that's something that I tackle early in my day. And I have a whole, I've got it scheduled on my calendar. It says invites and follow-ups. And it's scheduled like 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. So you can schedule whatever time frame you need, you're going to need for that. I will teach you how to figure out what activities you need to do. But a lot of times what I find is we waste our time. And when we have a moment to sit down, we have so much on our list to do, we don't actually know where we should go. So by taking time to do time blocking, which in the beginning can seem like like a lot, it will actually save you time and help you to be more productive in your daily life, not just with coaching, but with your family, with everything. So I know a lot of us get into this business to get freedom of time. And the only way that, that's awesome, you're going to get freedom of time. But let me tell you, if you don't know how to manage your time right now, what's going to happen when you get more time? You're just going to have more time that you're going to be mismanaged. And I'm speaking from experience. I got the freedom of time, and then I found out that I was still not very good with my time management. And then I was just wasting more time and actually ended up being more stressed out. So time blocking is a great way to be able to manage your schedule. So what I recommend you do is to get out a paper and write down all the things swirling in your head. Write them all down. I call it a brain dump. So you need to write down all those things that are going in your head, all the activities you're thinking you need to do for your business, all the activities you should do for your business. Write down all the stuff you're thinking about in terms of your house. Like, I know for me, we have some things I need to organize in the house. I write those down. I write down, birthday gifts that I need to get. My kids have birthday parties they're going to. I write that down. These are all those things swirling around in your head. Dump it out on a piece of notebook paper and get it out of your head. I do this once a week and it helps me so much. I usually do it on Saturday or Sunday morning. I just do a big brain dump. It doesn't take me very long because I just write down all that stuff that's stressing me out. Like, I need to get the oil change in my car. I need to make a return to Target. Am I speaking anybody's language here? Because this is the kind of stuff that swirls around in my head. And I'm like, crap. When I go to bed at night, I'm like, why did I not get my oil change? Why didn't I not go to Target? It's pretty crazy. That's how brains work, especially a mom brain. So I brain dump it, write it all down. And then what I do is I separate into quadrants. Let me grab a paper here. I'm going to show you. And I've done this for a long time, and I know some of you also do this. So I draw a cross. That's not a very good one because what should be on my list now is clean my desk. But I've got these quadrants. And what I do is I write personal. I write Beachbody. My husband and I have another business, and I write that over here, and then I write miscellaneous, or you can put random, whatever. And so the personal stuff is all the stuff that has to do with me or the family, like doctor's appointments, dentists, those birthday presents, and then I've got all my Beachbody stuff, and I list it here, and then I've got our other business. It's my husband's business actually, but I help with it. And so I write that over there. And then I've got the random stuff. So like the oil change and stuff like that, or things I'm thinking about in the house that don't necessarily, they're just that random floating miscellaneous stuff in your head. And so then I go from my brain dump and I write all of those things down and I categorize them. Then when I'm looking at my schedule for the week, I can time block those things in. And I also obsess this, you guys. I look at it and I think, what's actually important? What actually is going to get me closer to my goals? So yeah, I got to change the oil in my car. Like, I got to do that, right? Because otherwise my car's going to break. Income producing activities. I might be like, oh, write a blog post. Well, is that going to increase my income, or is that just like a nice to do? So you're going to have to assess that for yourself. And I go in there and I circle the things that actually need to get done this week. And then when I go to schedule with time blocking, you guys, I have it all scheduled in the calendar because I've got my times I'm going to be working, my workout times, my family time, all of that is scheduled in there. It's kind of like, I don't know if any of you have heard of like Dave Ramsey and how he talks about how you need to account for every dollar. You should account for all of your time as well, because otherwise what happens when you're not accounting for those dollars or that time? It gets wasted. And I can tell you that this has been number one, what has helped me be more productive and also increase my coaching income and not increase my hours. If you don't know much about me, I have been earning well into the six figures since 2014. I built my business on small amounts of time. I am not a coach that works full-time hours. I got into this business because I wanted freedom of time. I come from a corporate background. I come from working a lot of hours. I left a very lucrative corporate job because I wanted to be a mom that was present with her children. And I knew that that job would not allow me the kind of time I wanted to be with my kids. So when I built my Beachbody business, I didn't, I could make this into the same thing, but it didn't have to be. That's the beauty of this business. It's being smart with your time and being productive with your time rather than wasting time. So I don't work 40 hours as a coach. I never have, and I never will. And that's, that's something that I decided to do. I built my business in the beginning on 7 to 10 hours a week. Now I work 15, sometimes 20 hours a week. It depends. I spent most of April and May traveling around the world. As you know, I was in Greece. I was able to take a couple weeks off. But mind you guys, when I work, I sit down and I do my work. I don't sit down and waste time and scroll the feeds or do anything like that. And it was not like that at first. It took me a while to find my groove, but once I did, it was amazing. And as a result, it's given me more time with my family. And it's also given our family, we have that financial buffer from Beachbody, which has been really nice. And then my kids, like my daughter told me, she goes, you should really get a job. Like maybe you could go work at the Container Store or something like that. And because you guys, she knows what I do with Beachbody. She knows I love Beachbody. It's part of our life, but she doesn't see me like this all the time. And she doesn't see me strapped at my computer. She sees a mom that's present. Now, I hustle. I built my business and I hustled and worked, but I made darn sure, and my kids do see me work. My daughter's just a little confused. But when I sit down, I've got everything scheduled. So my kids are getting time with me. And, right now they're on their, I'm not going to lie, they're on their iPads while I'm doing this call, but I have family time scheduled for a little bit later. So if you get smart with your time, it can open up all sorts of possibilities, but the time blocking will really help you. So make sure that you do your brain dump and then circle the activities that will actually impact your goals. So you got to know your goals. And then make sure that you schedule those in. And you also need to realize that you got to be a little flexible, because while you've got your time block ideal schedule right, it is not going to go perfectly. Trust me, especially for those of us that have children. You never know what your day may bring. So you have to be flexible and know like, oh, I'm supposed to be inviting right now, but Allie needs a ride, or Brenda threw up, or whatever happened. It's always, something's coming up, or so you want to make sure that you don't get down on yourself if it doesn't go perfectly. But if you're sitting down to work and then you're like, oh, to invite some folks right now, but I really should do laundry. No, you need to stick to your task, right? Don't distract yourself just because you don't want to sit down and do the hard stuff. And, make sure that you get that stuff out of the way in the beginning of the day so that it's not lingering over your head. That's why I always get my workout done early. I get my workout done early because that's my time. It's what sets the tone for my day. And I get it done. I did a video this morning in my challenge group I put my phone in do not disturb when I'm working and when I'm with my family and when I'm doing my workout. What does that mean? It means you have this little button, hold on, this little button right here if you have an iPhone and you hit it, it's a half a moon. Hey, B. You say hi? Say hi, Brandon. So I'm just doing a call. I'm almost done. Okay. Those are Allie socks. Sorry. So what I do is I have it in do not disturb, and the only people that can get through to me are my husband, because he's in my favorites, my son, he has a cell phone, so he's in my favorites as well, my mom, my grandma, and my children's schools. That's it. Everybody else can wait. Those are people that can get through to me at any time. And so I put in do not disturb. So I don't want to hear about, oh, well, what if so-and-so needs to get a hold of me? Put the important people in your life in the favorites that literally need to get through to you, and then the rest, they can wait. Like this morning, my phone started going off at 5 a.m. I had a ton of texts. I had phone calls, you guys. I can't believe people, call that early, but they do. And if I would have, distracted myself and taken those texts and taken those calls, I would not have done my workout. I would not have had a chance to do the things that I needed to do. And I would have started my day off basically responding to someone else's emergency. So I suggest, and turn the notifications off on your phone. If you have one of those, the notifications on for your email or Facebook, turn them off. You don't need them. I have not had those on since 2013 when I started this. February 2013, I started this. You don't need them. Jessie doesn't have hers on either, you guys, and we both do quite well as coaches. So turn them off and get your phone in do not disturb, so that when you're with your family, when you're able to check messages and text messages, then you go on and check them. You have that scheduled in your time block. This will make you much more productive. You don't need to, just because someone texts you, it doesn't mean that you need to respond to them right away, especially if it's not like your family member. And like I said, I've got like my son and my kids' schools, and then of course my husband in there, and my mom and my grandma, because I help them. So figure out who those people are, get them in your favorites, and put that phone in do not disturb, and unplug when you're supposed to be unplugged. And it's it's good for your kids to see that too, because it shows them that you're present with them, and it's also teaching them, how to use their phones. Like my son, I don't want him like this all the time, so I let him know phone needs to go and do not disturb as well. So I recommend that. It will help you so much. And do not look at your phone when you first get up in the morning. I want you, do not check your email until later in the day, because all that's going to do is put you into someone else's emergencies, okay? And as a business owner, my husband coaches business owners that, make in the millions, and they also practice the same way. And if people that are running $1 million companies can do that, then so can we. So make sure that you're not getting up and you're like on your email and in Facebook Messenger right away. No, have your time, get your stuff done, and then have it scheduled when you're going to be doing that, okay? I have only over the years lost one sale because I didn't respond to them right away, but you guys, she was so rude because I responded to her 2 hours later that I don't really want her as a client. It was not, and then I've had other people, and I've only ever had one other person like get upset with me for my response. I get back to everybody within 24 hours, but I have it scheduled. So I cannot say that enough, because those things are what have helped me make a huge difference. That's, if you want to have presence with what you're doing, and you want to have presence with your family, and you want to feel at peace, this will help you get there. That's why I cannot, say it enough. Unless you're on call as a doctor or nurse, which I know we have, that's a whole other story. But, as far as that, but it's when you're, if you want true presence and true freedom and true like time with whatever you're doing, then that will help you get there. Give up the long to-do list. I know we like to make to-do lists. I'm a to-do list girl. I love writing to-do lists. I write them and I love filling all the pages. And then I sit there and like, it's like a challenge to get it all done during the day, but it doesn't all get done, right? There's always stuff on there that's not going to get done. So I circle 3 things that I need to get done. And then I feel productive. Or sometimes it's just one thing. Like I came back from Greece and I had sick kids for over a week. And so getting stuff done was really hard. And so I just wrote down my list. I circled like what I needed to do, which would make the biggest impact in getting me to my goals. And that's what I did. And then I felt accomplished and productive by the end of the day. Now the other stuff on there eventually gets done if it's important, but you don't have to do everything on your to-do list. You're not defined by that. So don't put too much stock into that. Just pick 3 things on there to get done. But if you're doing like your brain dump and you've got your Beachbody to-do list and you know exactly what you're going to do when you sit down, then you should be okay. You shouldn't need that long to-do list. The other thing I will tell you is take one task at a time. I know we all like to multitask. I was the queen of multitasking, but by being like that, and I am a reformed multitasker, I actually wasn't serving what I was doing very well. I was half doing things. Like I would be doing like 3 or 4 things at the same time. And I wasn't actually doing anything well. And everything was taking me a lot longer and it was a lot more stressful. So what I do is I focus on one task at hand. So whatever I'm doing, I'm focused on that. And it took a lot of discipline because my natural instinct was to multitask. That's what I was taught in college. That's what I was taught in corporate America. And, that's what all they say on the mom blogs, like multitask, multitask, multitask. But that's actually putting your body into, into stress. It's like fight or flight mode, you guys. So focus on whatever task you're doing and be focused on it and get it done. And just kind of evaluate at the end of the day, and you'll realize that you actually were more productive. It was a little bit more peaceful, less stressful. But as a reformed multitasker, I highly recommend focusing on one task at a time. So if I'm working on invites and follow-ups, I am not responding to messages. I am just going through doing my invites. I'll go back and do my follow-ups, and then when I have message response time, I'll do that. But I'm not doing that and making dinner and trying to help my daughter with her homework. That's just a hot mess waiting to happen, and I've done that before, and let me tell you, nobody's happy. Things get missed. It's stressful, and it's just not productive. So in my opinion, and from lots of the mentors that I work with, that is what they suggest. And I don't want to hear I'm the best multitasker in the world, because you guys, I was the queen. I had people like, wow, you can multitask. Like job performance reviews, great multitasker, everything, you guys. But all it did was give me a lot of stress. People, things got missed. And I was basically, like I said, I was half-assing everything I was doing because nothing had my full attention. So those are my tips for time management. And that is what has helped me so much. And I hope that it helps you. But that's really, if you want to know like the secret to building a 6-figure Beachbody business, income disclaimer in here right now, this is what it was. It was getting serious with my time, and it was doing these activities and being consistent with them, because that's how stuff got done. And I would look at what I needed to do for my business, and I'll share my to-do list with you. It was those income producing activities like inviting and following up and doing the call to action posts that were producing the income in my family, in my business, and were getting me the clients. Sitting there scrolling Facebook or doing like endless amounts of research. Now, yeah, you do need to do research on your own business, was not getting me to where I wanted to go, or looking at other coaches, Facebooks, or getting distracted by something shiny. These activities were what helped me build my business, which gave us the freedom of time. And remember, you guys, overwhelm comes from being too random with your time. And it also comes from, not planning. And as someone who appreciates spontaneity, the planning made a huge difference in my life. And just having that, time block on my schedule and making sure that I was scheduling. Like I even have take a shower on here, because that's, you know, that's how time blocked I am now. So I would highly recommend taking some time to do your brain dump, do your quadrants that I talked about, and then schedule out your week and let me know how it goes for you. And remember, it's not going to go perfect. It's always a work in progress. And just like when you're starting out your workouts, like when you start your workout program or you started your new nutrition program, there's always a learning curve. And there's always like where you're feeling like, oh, this is so hard. Don't quit. Trust me, like this will help you. I talk to people all the time who ask me about, you know, they're like, you don't seem stressed when you're, you know, at like, cause I'll be at school or I'll be at a game with my kids and I'm actually watching their game instead of being on my phone. And are like, how do you do that? And I'm like, it's time management. And it's being consistent with it, you guys. It really is. And doing the activities that matter instead of all that other fluff. Yeah, it's nice to have like beautifully edited photos and beautifully edited videos, but you know what? They don't always produce you income, right? If you've got extra time, schedule that in if that's something you like to do. But, you know, go look at my videos and look at my photos. They're not the best, but they speak to who they're supposed to speak to. So don't put too much pressure on yourself to have everything, you know, perfect, you know, do you, but just make sure that you're doing the activities that are going to get you closer to your goals. All right. So with that, does anybody have any questions, any statements, any takeaways? I would love to hear them.
No, I think that was awesome, Tawnya. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Was that helpful?
Yeah, it was. I had a screaming toddler for a minute, but no, I think that's great. And so you were talking about a planner earlier, and you said the Simple Planner. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. So Jenny turned me on to this. It's called the Simplified. I can't even talk. Simplified Planner. It's Emily Ley.
Okay.
Yeah, Emily Ley, Ley, and this is the one that. I mean, it works, but honestly, I've like prior to it, I was using a planner from Target.
Uh-huh.
Let me see if I can find it. That was like $10. Yeah, it's right here. Oh no, I don't know where it went. But it worked well too. The biggest thing is what I recommend is making sure that it has space to write. So I don't know if you can see this, but like it's got like a calendar and then a space for all your to-dos. Mm-hmm. And that's if you're a pen and paper person. I would totally recommend a planner, but Target has a ton, Amazon. Don't spend a ton of money on something. This was a gift. So it's actually from Jenny. Yeah, otherwise I'd still be using my Target planner. And that's what I recommend, is just making sure it has enough space. I do still use a Google Calendar because being a family of 5 and so many people having to be different places, and I manage all of, you know, my husband manages his own schedule, but I manage the kids and like making sure like if my husband has to pick up a child or drop a child off or, you know, something, you never know. Mm-hmm. And it's all scheduled in the Google Calendar because you can share it. Okay. And so if you're an electronic person, you can do that, or you can do the planner. I really like writing my work stuff down. Mm-hmm. It works for my brain. My husband is also so my husband's like a time management Nazi. I'm just going to tell you guys that, and I'm like not. So you can imagine like how fun being married is sometimes. Because he gets really stressed when things are not planned and they're like spontaneous. That like he's the opposite end of the spectrum. Mm-hmm. Like he's like, that's not on the schedule, so we're not doing it, you know. And I'm like over here. What he does is he's got everything time locked. He only uses a Google Calendar, so his is all in the calendar because he loves electronic. He does not like paper. He's not going to write him down. He doesn't need to. So my suggestion for all of you is go with your instinct. If you like to write it down, get a paper planner. Don't be ashamed about it. If you like electronic, use the Google Calendar. Google Calendar is free. You don't need to buy a fancy app. Like, just use it. Scott and I have been using Google Calendar since like it first came out, and because my husband was like, we need to share this calendar because we have so much going on. We need to know where people are and need to be. So I just say go with what works for you. But I will say the brain dump and the quadrants really helps, and my husband does do that. He does write that out. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So do you feel like the brain dumps just like really help with also just kind of like managing like overall like just stress about your week and all that? It's like you just get it all out and so much better.
Yeah. So it's like mental health for me. I'll give you an example. We're in the last week of school. Last week, 2 of my kids finished school. This week, one did. One was graduating 8th grade. The other 2 were finishing up at a school they'd been at for their whole lives. They're transferring schools. My daughter's teacher gave them 5 projects due at the end of the year. Everybody had activities. There was awards assemblies. And then we had gotten some other news. We're actually going to be moving, and that was a surprise, and like all this, and it was my birthday, and it just like I woke up literally having like a panic attack. I am not going to lie, the other night, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, and I realized, and so I got out of bed and I went downstairs and I did a brain dump in the middle of the week, and because I literally was like and I felt like I was drowning. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm like, we have so much going on. I can't keep my head above water. I don't know what to do. And I got up at like 1 a.m, went downstairs, did a brain dump, wrote it all out, everything that was stressing me out, everything that was swirling through my head. Of course, when I get into that state, I'm like, I need to clean the hall closet. Like, just stupid stuff, like coming out. And I wrote it all down. I did it. And then I was able to go to sleep. And I felt much more peace. So, and it was just that, like, I had to do a little extra that week because I thought I had it under control, but I didn't. And the ages that your kids are, and I know you and your hubby both work, and there's a lot. It's a lot. Like, everybody needs something, and so for me, it helps my mental stress, like, because I was like, what am I doing? So and then so I highly recommend it. When you're feeling stressed, dump it all out. Just dump it all out. And, I have my clients do it too. So, you'll like it. Try it out and let me know. I know for me it's made a huge impact. I know Jenny does it. I know there's actually quite a few coaches. I think Amanda also does it, and it helps a lot of people.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yay. Any other questions?
No.
I'm so glad you could pop on. It's so good to see you.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see you next week.
I know. It's going to be awesome. I'm really, really excited.